So this is the story of how a sound recordist tried to scam me out of £1,200 on my film Melanie's Grave, which is out September the 27th on Amazon Prime and a few other platforms, so please go and check it out. Now, I've always found it difficult to find a sound recordist for any of my film shoots. Don't know what it is, but they always seem to be the last person that I hire. Now, there's one particular story about a sound recordist that really sticks out. Now, just bear in mind that Melanie's Grave was a low-budget, self-funded, extremely limited resources film. The entire film budget was only £8,000, which came from me, which came from a couple of loans that I got, and also some money that I borrowed from my parents. So I just want to make this clear before all the empty heads come on with their comments saying, oh, well, you should have paid people properly then, shouldn't you? This isn't Hollywood. This is amateur filmmaking. It's hobbyists who are trying to make something to try and get a foothold into the film industry by way of kind of showreel material, and any actors and other crew who come on board are doing the same. They're on the same level, trying to get higher up into the film industry, which is a very, very difficult place to get into. So if anyone comes in here and kind of criticises that, then they do not know what they're talking about. Well, then you shouldn't be making your film if you can't pay people. Then how do you get a foothold in the film industry if you can't make a film from scratch with very little budget, with a bunch of people kind of on the same footing as you, kind of coming together to try and make something which is then going to help them, potentially help them get into the film industry proper. So these productions like this with very, very little funding are essential for filmmakers. So please don't criticise anyone, not just me specifically, but anyone who is trying to make a film or is working on a film and only getting travel expenses and working for food. It is essential. These grassroots filmmakers are the stepping stone into the film industry. You don't just come out of film school and go, wow, yeah, I'm going to Hollywood and I'm going to make a movie, yeah. It doesn't work that way. It's just ridiculous. So please have some sympathy for these small kind of filmmakers who are trying to make their little films. That's my little gripe for the day. So back to what I was saying. Everyone knew the score and agreed to terms of travel and food only. Now, I hired this sound guy with the agreement that I'd pay him travel expenses and provide food. And he knew that I had struggled to find a sound guy who would be willing to accommodate that and the budgetary constraints that I had. So then a while later, he came back to us and he said he was upgrading all his sound equipment, which would benefit my production, which is absolutely fantastic. But he didn't want to get a bank loan to pay for his equipment. So if I could see my way to paying him £100 a day, he would be very grateful. Now that worked out at £1,200 for the shoot, just for him. And bear in mind that the entire film shoot budget was only £8,000. So as you can imagine, I was a little underwhelmed. So I told him that buying new equipment was entirely his decision, and I was quite happy for him to use his old equipment, which presumably works fine because he'd applied for the role in the first place. And I reminded him that this was travel expenses only, which he had agreed to. So how do you think that I was going to miraculously conjure up another £1,200? So he then said that he wouldn't be able to do the film if he wasn't going to get paid, although he'd already agreed to do that. So what a surprise. So this guy thought he had me over a barrel because I'd found it hard to find a sound guy to work for the expenses only. Now, what he didn't know at that moment when we were having that conversation, I was about to leave my house to go out, and I was literally going to interview another sound guy who I was going to hire as the boom operator to help him. So guess what I told that idiot? So I kicked him into touch and I gave the newly vacated sound recorder's position to the boom operator, who was an enthusiastic film student who was well into his sound recording, and he appreciated the opportunity more than the last guy. So I replaced him with someone else within the hour, and I think I really dodged a bullet with that guy. So the moral to that story is, if you agree to terms and conditions of coming onto a film production, don't then try and complain and try to change those terms and conditions which you have agreed to in the first place. Now, if you want to hear more of my filmmaking stories, hit the correct buttons and keep a lookout for Melanie's Grave on Amazon Prime and all the other platforms, coming out September the 27th. Please go and have a look and check it out. Please, please, please.